For the record. How's it going? Good.
Okay, good morning everybody. We'd like to get started. Welcome. Good morning everybody.
Morning.
Welcome to 1 Million Cups El Paso, and thank you for coming. Who is here 1 Million Cups for the first time? Please raise your hand. Liar, but thank you. We'd like to introduce our organizers. We have Serena Harper, Cynthia Trejo, Nancy Lowry. It's a special treat to have her actually up here. She usually hides in the back. Esther Lopez.
Morning, everybody.
And we should introduce Nicole because she's one of our, she's our super intern. She helped us do an event at UTEP. So Nicole. So welcome to 1 Million Cups.
And our other intern, Ryan.
And our other intern, Ryan, is in the back of the Ryan. We have both awesome, excellent interns. And I'm Ernesto Gamboa. Thank you again for coming. We'd like to start off with a short video about Kauffman Foundation and 1 Million Cups.
1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
We're here to present more cities. It's a great opportunity to see what's happening across the country.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable. Sitting with people that have ideas too, and help them to these are beyond my ideas. These workers, these worth going after, even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
So that's 1 Million Cups. It was started by the Kauffman Foundation. It's an entrepreneurial showcase event, entrepreneurial education and networking. So every week we bring in 2 entrepreneurs and we have them tell their story, their trials, their tribulations, how they got started in the business, their challenges, how they're growing, what they need to grow, how the community can help them. They do their presentation and then you all get 15 minutes to ask them questions, Q&A. And that's the real value add, where you provide valuable feedback. You can challenge some of their assumptions, things like that, and they get a lot of value from that. So don't be afraid, get in the weeds, challenge them. And by the way, by being here this morning, you're part of over 140 communities in the U.S. that does this every Wednesday morning. In fact, it's probably not close to 150 because they've been adding, and their vision is to get to 300 communities in just a couple of years. And so the idea, the name is that someday soon we'll be able to say 1 million cups of coffee have been drank over and while discussing entrepreneurship. So that's the name. We'd like to do a shout out to our sponsors. The coffee sponsor for today is The Hub, and they're also our venue sponsor where we are today. What is The Hub? We are a business and technology incubator here in town. We help new businesses get started, established, and grow, particularly if they have a new technology, a new product, a new service. We're very, very affordable because we're supported by the City of El Paso and some other private donors. So if you have a new business that you're growing or starting, please come see us. We can definitely help. We normally have, our media sponsor is Digital Bull and Borderland TV. They couldn't be here today. They had a personal emergency. But normally these events are live streamed. You can follow them on Facebook Live. But please do check in on Facebook, both at The Hub and with 1 Million Cups. Follow us on Twitter. And download the app, the 1 Million Cups app. You can download. Please do check in. Please check in. By the way, please also check in and do a Google review for The Hub if you could. That would be great. And on the app, you can also provide feedback to the presenters. So it's a really cool thing to do. So do please follow us and join our community. And with that, I'll bring up our first presenter, All Over Branding.
Yay!
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Oh, glad to hear it. Welcome, and I'm glad you're here. And first of all, I want to start out by congratulating you and expressing my sincere admiration for deciding to become entrepreneurs. I know it's exciting and scary at the same time. It is for me. So, unfortunately, there's some bad news. The odds are against us. You know, unfortunately, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 50% of new businesses will fail within the first 5 years. But there is hope and there is help, and hopefully my intentions today is to give you some information that hopefully will help you not be a statistic. My name is Juan Velasquez, And along with my brother Antonio Velasquez, we started all over branding. I UTEP graduate. I received my business degree from UTEP. All time El Paso. I love El Paso, and for many years I, like many other people, graduated from UTEP and went and worked for corporations, corporate America, and it was good. I had good paid jobs. I was successful, but there's I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't completely satisfied. I wanted to do more. I wanted to do more for El Paso. I love El Paso, and I love local businesses. So what better way to support local businesses and my community than to help local businesses get established, grow, and multiply. So that's what all over branding is all about. I'm a member of the hub, so I have a space here, and you can call me and visit me at any time. So all over branding is committed to helping local businesses, like I said, get established, grow, and multiply by utilizing the extensive marketing channels available to us today. Local businesses, they face many challenges, and among those are, how to market and promote their products and services. They know they have a need to do something to promote their products and services so that people are aware they exist and what they provide and what they can do. But in today's world, there are many options available, which is the good thing. The bad thing is that most of them are complicated, expensive, and time consuming. So what happens is most businesses end up spending a lot of time, money, and efforts and not getting the results they expect without getting measurable results. So we have a better approach. Instead of wasting valuable resources in a trial and error approach, we help companies, businesses develop a customized marketing plan, keeping in mind the goals, their desired results. So it's goal-driven. And our approach is effective, flexible, and scalable, and produces measurable results. And we use what we call, the models of establish, grow, and multiply. What is establish, grow, and multiply? First, you gotta get established. It's like building a house. You gotta have to have a foundation, and what that consists of, designing a good logo. The most successful brands in the world, they have the simplest logos. So it doesn't have to be complicated or detailed or, so try to keep it a logo. Keep in mind that your logo has to look good, not only on the cell phone, but also on a billboard. So it has to have, and keep it to, 1 or 2 colors. Keep it simple. Simple works best. And then come up with a slogan that clearly expresses your message, like have it your way, or eat fresh. Create a website, and again, simple is better. Don't go out and create an elaborate website, with pages and pages of information, because most people are going to just look at your main page and how to contact you, and then establish your social media presence. Then the other one is growing the business. The way you grow the business is, your print materials. Now you can go to press and print all your business cards, brochures, flyers, start a direct mail marketing campaign, and register on all the available online directories, which will also help in that search engine and optimization. Last, you want to multiply, which means just grow, but grow bigger exponentially. And that includes apparel, shirts, hats, and promotional products, travel mugs, high-end premium pens, backpacks, vehicle marketing, signs, banners, and attending all the available events and trade shows. So what I would like to ask all of you, first of all, to allow me the opportunity to sit down with you and review your marketing efforts and see how we can get you the results that you want, and also refer me to other businesses. That concludes my presentation, and I open this up for questions.
Questions? How long have you been in business?
Okay, my brother has been in business for over 5 years. I just started this year.
Okay.
What kind of clients have you been working with?
All kinds, insurance agents, restaurants, a lot of restaurants, a lot of food industry, mechanics, different service providers like contractors, also construction companies.
Anybody with a specific product that you taken, and marketed it and helped it grow?
Yes, we have several success stories. The biggest success story is the one that my brother started over 5 years ago. It's a Chinese buffet. They started out small. They were only able to spend a couple $100 a month, at the very beginning. And they grew so much, and now they have many locations, opened up more locations, and they are able to spend thousands of dollars.
That's what I was going to ask you. You work with certain budgets. If a company has a certain
Correct.
budget, you try to work around that.
Correct, exactly. This is what I mean by a customized marketing plan, and it's scalable. So you can start with a couple $100 a month, if that's all we can do. And then as you grow, hopefully you can spend more and then grow more. That's the idea.
How do you acquire new clients?
Here at the hub, and any other events, we have a website, we have social media, we have, what we do for our clients, we do for ourselves. All the available channels.
What would you say is the biggest pitfall that your clients would have as far as when they come to you and they say, I need help with my marketing, but I've been doing this, what would be the biggest mistake people make before they come to you?
Yes, as you saw, I tried to explain the different phases: get established, grow, and multiply. Most businesses, they want to run before they can walk. So it's like, hey, let's scale it down a little bit, because there's a lot of very good marketing services out there. Like Google. They go out and spend thousands of dollars on Google, and they don't get the results that they expect. Why? Because you haven't done this part first.
What is the most important part then? Like, what is the core? What is the core, thing they should be focusing on first?
Get established. Design a good logo. Design a good website. You establish your social media, and then do that. From there, your print materials, business card, brochures, because now you have something to put on the business card. It's not only, okay, my name and phone number. No, you have a logo, you have a slogan, you have your website, your email, your social media, and that is going to help you, well, get established again. Establish yourself as a company, as a business. Go ahead.
Do you have a questionnaire that would allow me to answer questions that you would want to know so that you can tailor the perfect website to fit my needs, my very specific needs? Some type of questionnaire?
We have something on the works.
Okay.
I have something, I can show it to you, but it is not really a questionnaire, but we are working on getting something like that.
Okay.
It's like, I have like what you call like order form.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, okay, I need this, and that, and then you check it off.
Okay.
But I'll show it to you definitely.
When you do the logo, do you also do the business cards? Do you-
Yes.
Where do you do your
Yes.
printing? Is that done something here locally or is that done here?
Right now, we only do it in San Antonio, but yes, we're looking into doing it also here.
So your brother does all the work over there and then it...
Right. Right now, I am the only, well, there's only 3 of us working here in El Paso, in San Antonio, where my brother has the headquarters. The headquarters is in San Antonio. You know, he has about six employees. So we have a social media expert, a website developer, a graphic designer, and the printing.
What are your goal plans for the past?
To be self-sufficient, like separate from my brother.
Have you, do you do like, I guess, personal branding or visuals, like that?
Very good question. We haven't come across that before, but I'm pretty sure we can. Very good question.
Any other questions?
I got one.
Yes.
I got 2, actually.
Great.
He had a great idea, because a lot of businesses don't know what they don't know. So it's one of those things that, oh, I never even thought about that.
Right.
And secondarily, who is your local competition
Who is the local competition?
for you?
I know there's a lot. You know, I know many print shops do they do. See, what happens is that, like a print shop can do one thing very good, and they try to do other things, but they're not as good. You know, like graphic design, logo design, website, SEO, and there's other website companies that they do that very well, but they don't have, other things like signs, banners, and direct media, which is the direct media is the most underutilized marketing channel, and is very expensive. So, yes, I know we have a lot of competition, but it's like they're good at one thing and not so good at others. And what we try to do is sit down with the owners or managers and see what makes sense. Because maybe right now they don't need to invest in a new website. Maybe right now they don't need to, do certain things.
Any other questions? Who is your ideal client?
The ideal client is committed to success. What I mean by that is that, like for example, there are clients that, they say, okay, yeah, let's do this. And they're committed for the first month or 2, and then they drop off. And says, oh yeah, we're not getting the results we want fast enough, or, like the buffet. The buffet, they have been committed from the very start. And, sometimes, we measure the results. Sometimes the results is not what we expect, but we tweak it, and we until we get the results that are expected or close to them.
Okay.
But that's,
You mentioned you do logo design, the marketing plan, social media, print, all of that. So do you furnish everything through your company?
Or do you basically just let them know what they need and then they go out and find it? Do
We-
you furnish everything in-house?
We try to, but if we don't have something like, for example, some companies are, they, you know, they're ready for maybe a commercial on TV or commercial on radio, then we just help them in the right direction, guide them in the right direction, how to do that.
One more question for you. To Rosalind's point about who's your ideal client, since we all get our clients through networking, referrals, that type of thing, who do you have the most success with when you're out networking? Who do you get the most, you know, like what, if you're going to target market
Yeah, there's
somebody, a group?
There's like 4 different groups. They're about the same. You know, the food industry, you know, number 1. And the agents, you know, real estate agents and insurance agents, and then you know, service providers, you know, like plumbers, electricians, roofers, construction. Anybody that has a service, a product, and needs to be out there.
Okay, the last question is always, what can we, I think you already addressed it, as a community do to help you?
Well, like I mentioned in the previous slide, is allow us, me, because my brother sometimes is in town with me and helping me out, allow us to sit down with you and discuss your marketing and help me by referrals.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
It's a requirement, unfortunately.
Oh. Thank you.
Okay, now we have some time for community announcements. I neglected to make the all-important parking announcement, and my helper in the back didn't remind me. If you park in front of the building in the angled parking, you do have to be backed in. If you're not backed in, the city will come and leave you a love note. Also, if you're in that angled parking closest to Durango, you only have an hour. So also, same thing, the city will come and tell you how much they care about you. If you're on the other half closest to the Paisano curve, then you're fine if you were lucky enough to get one of those. Please do sign in. If you didn't sign in on the way in, please sign in on your way out. It's very, very important. We have to report back to Kaufman and our supporters that we are having an impact in the community, so please, please do sign in. So next, does anybody in the community have an announcement? Anybody raised any money, need to hire somebody, want to talk about a past success? Any announcements from the community? Yes, ma'am.
There's a holiday fair that's happening. There's a holiday fair happening, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, December 9th. It's going to be, now all of a sudden the address is gone. I know what the address is, but I'll get back to you about it. I can't think of it all of a sudden right now. So, but it's going to be really great. It's going to be tons of different vendors there. I think there's something like 25. It's going to be on Sunday also. I'm not going to be there on Sunday. But
Where, you don't know?
it's at a party hall on,
Or that's where?
like around Zaragoza, I think.
Oh.
Who's hosting the event? Is there?
It's the party hall itself that's hosting it actually. I can't remember her name.
Is that one near?
Well, we have.
I'll get
Yes.
I should have looked at it up before I even. I apologize.
Well, normally the last announcement in the community announcements is I talk about Startup Digest, where you can go online, startupdigest.com/El Paso, and you can upload all of your events, and then you can subscribe to it and get a newsletter, an email with all the events. So Startup Digest, that's a good segue into it. Next, the City of El Paso is having their 2017 Cooperative Purchasing Expo. So they're going to be covering these things. What is a cooperative program? What's the benefits of a cooperative program? How to join one? If I remember back in my city days, what they would do is organize smaller businesses to cooperatively purchase things that they needed and get better prices, including having access to the city and the state and the county itself buying things from suppliers. So it's a two-way exchange is what I remember. So if you're interested in that, it'll be the 29th of November. Please let us know and we'll give you the details. Next, Breakfast with Friends, free every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. at Carnitas Querétaro on the east side by the fountains. That's a free Breakfast with Friends every Thursday. Next, Mass Challenge Texas. That's a Texas statewide accelerator that is here in the state. And if you apply and you get selected, you get zero equity prizes. You get all kinds of assistance and connections and access to funders to accelerate the growth of your business. That's what an accelerator is. We're having an event here at the Hub Friday, December 1st from 12 to 1:30 p.m. So come and find out more about that. If you are interested, please let us know. There is an application fee, but we have a discount code that you will not pay an application fee because they really want to see applications from our region. So again, it's a fantastic thing. You'll get access to resources all over the state of Texas. Mass Challenge Texas, please come see us on Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday. Yes, this Friday, December 1st. Next, the Greater El Paso Business Chamber of Commerce is having their business after hours, Thursday, December 7th, 5:30 p.m. at the Country Inn and Suites on Sunland Park Drive. So if you want any information, let us know. The Hub is having our holiday open house on Thursday, December 14th. By the way, if you weren't here last week, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we didn't have presenters, but we had a huge spread. We had Bui Bakery Pan Dulce, we had cinnamon rolls from Grandy's. You missed out if you weren't here. So
We missed out on the calories.
that's right. Calories don't count around Thanksgiving. Don't you know that? From now until January 1st, they don't count. So Thursday, December 14th, 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. here at the Hub. There will be booze, free booze. That's important till it runs out. And then we just go over to the bar next door. Next, we're having a patent and trademark seminar with the USPTO office representatives. Thursday, January 18th, 2018, already 2018 folks, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. There is a slight cost, and it's going to be held at the Community College Administration offices on Viscount. So again, if you're interested, or not free, but you'll have access to experts on patent and trademarking. Next, the Office of Texas Governor, Economic Development and Tourism. They're going to be having 2018 Texas Export Initiative workshop. If you have any interest in exporting, or you're already exporting, you need to attend one of these informational sessions. This is a program where if you qualify, you get free or reduced access to these trade shows, including sometimes going overseas. It's an awesome program that the state does, so if you have any interest in doing that, please come see us. There's information that's online, and we can do that and connect you, and there's a whole series of these events if you have any interest in exporting. Next, please do sign up for the Downtown El Paso Insider. It's a newsletter online that lets you know all the events that are happening downtown. And I already mentioned Startup Digest. With that, I'd like to really quickly recognize we have some alumni presenters in the audience. Alumni presenters, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Great. Now, the last thing, we had a lot of announcements, but a lot of good stuff. We like to give away a mug. Normally, I either ask a question directly related to attendance of 1 Million Cups, or I make a drawing with your business card, but I want to do something a little different. For December, we're doing Artist Month. All of December is reserved for artist presenters, and I think we're pretty much full, maybe one slot open. In fact, one of our presenters is standing in the back, Amalia. Hello. So, but also for January, we're doing Brick and Mortar Month. So if you or somebody you know has a brick and mortar establishment, that's what we would like for them to present at 1 Million Cups. So the mug is, if you have a referral, if somebody you can introduce us to, somebody that you know that has a brick and mortar or even a brick and mortar related type business and would like to have us present, this mug can be all yours. But I'm going to get the referral from you before you leave. Anybody, any takers? Nobody wants the mug? Nobody can give us one referral for brick and mortar to help us get?
Does it come with lifetime coffee?
Lifetime coffee every Wednesday morning right here, Mr. X. Yes, sir. You have one? Okay, so I'll get the referral from you. Thank you very much. Whew, that was a lot of stuff. With that, we'll bring up our second presenters, Minerva Genetics.
Thank you guys for inviting me out. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time to attend one of these events, so it's a good learning experience. By the time you finish with this talk, we're going to talk everything from agriculture to genetics to high-tech medical devices. So I'm Brad Bryan. I'm a professor at Texas Tech in the cancer center there, and I've been here around 7 years, and for the majority of that 7 years, myself and my wife, Dr. Diane Mitchell, who's a geneticist, have been working on a company that is a medical testing lab. It's a very high-tech medical testing lab right here in El Paso. And so I'll walk you through what we've done so far, where we're at, and where we're going. So the agriculture part of it.
Where did the name Minerva come from?
You're going to have to ask her that. It's go for it.
The Roman goddess of knowledge, and it was still available, like.
No, I've had Minerva girlfriends in the past, I never knew that.
So when you're forming biology companies and diagnostic companies, there's a lot of good names. They're all taken.
Nice, thank you.
So does anybody know who this is?
No.
Think back to high school biology, college biology. You had to do these little tic-tac-toe things.
Yeah.
Mendel. Okay, this is Mendel. He was a monk and he did some genetics with peas. And he lucked out because he chose peas because they're really easy. You should try medical genetics. But you know, you got green peas, you got yellow peas. You do these little tic-tac-toe things, and you can sort of segregate how the traits are gonna go into the offspring. It gets a lot more complicated than just green or yellow. You got tall or short, purple or white, yellow or green, smooth or wrinkled, so on and so forth. And you can imagine if you're making one of these little tic-tac-toe things with Mendelian genetics, it gets really complicated. It starts to look a little bit like this. And you start doing these Punnett squares looking like this, and you're pulling your hair out going, oh my God, these are complicated. All right, but the good thing is Mendel picked a really easy genetic problem to work with. These traits segregate really simple, and peas are just, he lucked out, let's just put it that way. People are a different story. If you look within families, you know, we see people are quite, they look very similar. A grandmother looks very similar to the daughter, looks very similar to the granddaughter. And we can see this in our families, I see this in my family. And so those traits get passed down. And you know, everybody sees it, everybody knows that. The flip side of that is diseases get passed down too. And certain people have a genetic predisposition. They carry these certain genes in their families that have mutations or they have variants that sort of predispose them to getting certain diseases, diabetes or cancer, more so than the general population. And so, just like Mendel, but much more complicated than Mendel, we could go in and we could look at the genetics, and we don't do Punnett squares, but we do some version of that, which requires a computer because it's way smarter than I am, and we can calculate your propensity to get different types of diseases. So, what if we could predict the risk of a disease before you ever got the symptom? Right? Most people, when cancer comes in, you're in your 60s or 70s. Diabetes kicks in when you're in your 40s or 50s. What if we knew when you were a teenager or when you were just born, you have a risk of getting colon cancer, or you have a risk of Alzheimer's? We can take steps, you can take steps to prevent that. Because unlike Mendel's peas, which is 100% black or white, or green or yellow, diseases don't work that way. Diseases, we can do things to prevent them. You can watch your weight, you can eat healthy, you can take supplements that can prevent free radical damage for neurological problems. So the earlier you know that you have a propensity for a certain disease, the sooner you can take action and the more likely you can prevent that.
How accurate is that?
Very accurate. So like I said, it's not black or white. Let's take breast cancer, for instance. People have probably heard about the BRCA1, BRCA2 genes. There's a certain percentage risk, maybe it's somewhere 40 to 80%. If you have a mutation in that gene, you have about a 40 to 80% risk of getting breast cancer. So I can't say 100% you're going to get breast cancer, but I can say you better watch it, you better monitor it, and if anything comes up abnormal, you should treat that very fast. So we don't just do this with cancer, we don't just do this with diabetes. Minerva Genetics has technology that we can do this for arthritis, cardiac diseases, neurological diseases, and a whole host of these really weird diseases that I really don't even know what they are, but they have these complex names that I can't probably say. If we just take cancer, and this is one of the things that we really focused on a lot with our company since we started, in the blue down here, you just see the general population lifetime risk for cancer. It's relatively low on a cancer type basis. But if you have certain inherited mutations, your risk for breast cancer here, over 80%, colon cancer, nearly 100%. with a lot of accuracy, we can tell you whether you're going to get a certain type of cancer. And again, you can take those preventative measures to stop that. So what do we have? We look at a lot of genes. When you look at the Mendelian P traits, maybe there was 4, 5, 6 different little things. We look at over 50 different traits. And so if you're doing Punnett squares with this, it's rather large. It takes a computer to do this. It takes a lot of software to do this kind of stuff. And we will look at these 50 plus traits, and we can break them down into high-risk traits or moderate-risk traits. If you have a high-risk mutation in a gene, you really need to be aggressive about preventative measures, because it's going to look more like what you saw here, where your risk is close to 100%. If you have a moderate risk mutation in a gene, it's going to be much lower. Your risk is maybe doubled or tripled. Okay, so you still need to be careful. So we started our company about 2 years ago. We're in the Cardwell Collaborative. We've officially been running samples for a couple of months now, because it took a while to get all the regulatory law taken care of. Right now, we have captured El Paso. Las Cruces has about a $3 million per year market. We captured about $250,000 per year of that in just a few months. So I think we've done pretty darn well, and we need some marketing to get bigger. The compound annual growth rate for what we do is 27%, which is extremely high. It's a huge market. And what we've done is we've partnered with one of these companies that started up at the Cardwell Collaborative. And here's the owner of it, Scott Patton. He's an IT guy. He's actually making this really cool front-facing, client-facing website company that basically sells the products. And it also has some proprietary software that can do some of those really complex Punnett squares. And so we're really looking forward to working with this guy. And so this is where we're located. This is our company. Dr. Mitchell sitting right there, and then this dorky guy, that's me. And then a couple of our people working with us. And so we're looking to expand our market in El Paso and Las Cruces, and then as time goes on. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer.
What does it cost?
What's the cost to run the test?
Yeah.
The cost, it depends. So
There's various tests you can do.
Yeah, it depends on the test. If insurance is reimbursing, insurance reimburses at several $1,000s per test. It's an expensive test for us to do, though. We also have discounts for out-of-pocket payers. So if they don't go through insurance, because insurance is a headache for us as well, we will lower the cost pretty substantially. And then we've also, because El Paso has a high poverty rate, we have a sliding scale of, based on your income. And so this is something, there are some competitors out there that do similar things to what we do. But the advantage that we have is that we take a hit on a few samples because people don't have the money to pay for some of these tests. They don't have the insurance to pay for some of these tests. But what that does is it convinces the clients, which would be the MDs, to use our company.
Why would an insurance company reimburse that? What? I don't understand that.
Well, let's take cancer, for instance. Cancer, on average, costs an insurance company anywhere between $150,000 to $350,000 per year.
I don't know that I have cancer yet.
Right.
Why would an insurance company reimburse that?
Because an insurance company would rather do screenings, increased frequency of screenings for cancer on you at a much lower cost, catch that cancer really early, and then that $350,000 they don't have to pay it. Because if you can just surgically remove a cancer, the cost is really low, and your chances of survival is really high. Whereas if you just show up and all of a sudden, oh dear, I have cancer and it's all over me, the insurance company pays a lot of money to fix it. That's right, and that's why there's a big push on early prevention, early preventative measures like mammograms and colonoscopies. It's just relatively cheap if you catch it early, and your survival is very high.
Yes, besides genetics, is one of the variables also what you ingest? I mean, alcohol or water? Any of those considerations? Any of those part of the variables for that test design?
So it's not a variable in our test result, but it's definitely going to be one of your preventative measures. I mean, let's take colon cancer, for instance. Colon cancer, a lot of toxins that you eat, particularly high meat consumption, is one of the big variables with colon cancer. With breast cancer, it's obesity. That's a huge factor in that. With prostate cancer, it's high testosterone levels. And so there's depending upon the type of cancer that you may have a propensity for having, we could help, or your doctor could say, these are the preventative measures you should do to minimize that risk as much as possible. So definitely lifestyle is one of the factors that you can change the most in these. Okay, we'll get to everybody's question. There was a lot of them. Yeah, sure.
If you know that disease runs in your family versus cancer, what age would you recommend they take the test?
Early as possible.
So there could be a child.
Yeah, if the insurance will pay for it as early as possible. Definitely, you see a lot of families that, my mother had breast cancer, my grandmother had colon cancer, and you see lots of cancers popping up. A lot of times insurance will pay for that. When you can really start making an impact, I think I'm turning 40. I think 40 is the point that everything's kind of starting to do this. Maybe before that.
39 and a half.
39 and a half is the best age. That's right. No, but earlier is better because you can, and it depends. There's one of these mutations on that list that's called P53. The second you're born, you probably should know if you have that mutation because a lot of childhood cancers are actually because of that mutation. So earlier better.
Are you marketing this to doctors or to employers as a wellness?
So right now we have, we started back in June 2016. As I said, there's a lot of regulatory stuff you have to get through. It took us about a year to get through all that regulatory mess before we could ever even run a sample. And so about late October is when we really started running samples. And so far our clients have been doctors. Now, that's not necessarily the best client. It's the easiest client for us early on at the lowest cost. Because one doctor will see 20 new cancer patients a month. And so if we can get one doctor as a client, then that maximizes our time for marketing. But at the same time, and I mentioned BaseMate being one of these, this company that we're partnering with. What they're doing is a client-facing website that actually markets to people, just not doctors, just patients. And so the idea, myself, I only have X amount of time in a day. So I have to maximize who I can see. If you do this through social media and you do this through, the internet, you can maximize to a lot of people at a really good cost. And so that's sort of what we're doing is we're opening up the test not only to the doctors, but to people as well. Now, the way the FDA has it set up, the people still have to go through doctors. So you can't come to me and ask me for the test because there's some regulatory things that are put in place. And so it has to still be through a doctor. But we're sort of working some ways to make that really, really easy.
Yes, it sounds like it's a really capital-intensive endeavor. How are you capitalized?
So my retirement? No, it actually wasn't that expensive, to be honest with you. We have a couple of pieces of equipment that were very costly. You would think this would run into the millions, but it's in the hundreds of thousands to get it set up. And right now we have Diane and I own about 48% of the company, and then we have investors for the other 52% of the company. We have some investors coming in wanting to invest several $100,000 at the beginning in January, and so we're working with that right now because we need that investment because we go to doctors and the doctors say, we love this test, we're going to run this test. Hey, can you guys do this, 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 and this? And we said, no, we can do this. They like this, but they want everything. And so we're going for, it's a good problem. You got people wanting more revenue coming your way, but then we also have to have capital investment to do the things that they're looking for.
Where are your investors coming from? Local or?
No, out of Houston area. Out of the Houston area, out of the Colorado area. And so let me back up. The current people who own the company, between us, we're in El Paso, and some people out of the Houston area, some people out of Colorado. The other investors are local. One two are local. And then we have another one coming in that is a real estate investor out of China. And so, we'll see where that goes.
So is this considered the latest technology for this type of,
This is the best technology you can possibly get.
that you can get anywhere?
So I'm curious why you have to go through a doctor, and the reason I'm asking is because there's similar companies like 23andMe, and is it because of the depth of your testing, or what's the difference in requirements?
So what do you
Because they do direct to consumer.
So what do you get from 23andMe?
And just, like generally where you're coming from, and kind of more like your, ancestry as opposed to like more medical data? Is that a different?
So they're not diagnosing it. We're actually giving a diagnosis. And so 23andMe or Ancestry.com, they can say, oh, you're Irish, or you're this. 23andMe is getting there with direct to consumer. But what happens is MDs are a good lobbying group. And so when the decisions are made by the FDA, they want a cut of that. We have an MD on our staff. And so we could have an MD, we have to. We're actually required by regulation to have an MD on our staff. So could we do the diagnosis? Yes, but it's just not the way things are set up. Medical costs are high. There's some reasons medical costs are high. People like to get their cut. They could be much, much more efficient. I think he had one of them.
Okay, as one specific preventive measure, how much has water quality come into your consultation?
Yeah, so we don't do water quality. If I had a whiteboard, I could show you. If you think of a pie chart and you think of all the things you can do to prevent getting cancer, let's say, just focus on cancer, because that's really my research background, although we do work in cardiac and neurological stuff. If you have a pie chart, 40% of that is don't smoke. I mean, do you need my $3,000 test to tell you not to do that? No, don't smoke. Another 30% of that is going to be stay in shape. Don't be obese. That is, those two things, if you can do that, you can cut out over 50% of all cancers anywhere. But then we start getting into smaller, things, radiation, environmental exposure, viruses. Those take little slices, 10% slices or 5% slices. Water quality in certain places is going to be a big thing. But as a generality, it's pretty small for cancer. Maybe not for other things. But definitely in certain regions, water quality is going to be high. I mean, I think there's areas around El Paso that have high arsenic. So for neurological problems, that's going to be a big issue. Maybe not for cancer. But if you have a mutation, let's say one of these mutations that leads to colon cancer, it's not don't smoke, don't eat so much, stay in shape. It's you really need to eat a lot of fiber, you really need to eat a lot of vegetables, you need to cut down your meat consumption, because those are the things that drive colon cancer. So there's some very specific things for very specific cancers that sort of skew that pie chart.
Do you have that pie chart on a slide?
Not with me,
but I do have it. You have it available. All right. Yeah, I see that. Thank you.
Well, two things. Water does have something to do with chlorine and fluoride everywhere. But my question is this: has the insurance industry approached you yet to offer some kind of, I'd say, discount because of the preventive technology?
Yeah, so I think so we're working with the insurance right now. There's a credentialing process that you have to do for insurance companies, and we're in the process of that right now. So all that negotiation is going on right now. But we had to go through that first year of regulatory stuff, and then the next big endpoint that we have to get to is now the insurance and working out the negotiations and the contracts with those. So yeah, we're right in the middle of that.
As a company, what are your biggest challenges right now facing?
The biggest challenges, there's a lot. There's a pile of them. This is a high technology company in a heavily regulated environment. It's expensive to run the tests, and we're doing this in an area that is, has a high poverty rate. And so, right there, I just listed off a lot. Some of the challenges, and we have ways that we're working around that. Some of the challenges that are sort of more acutely manageable. A lot of the doctors that are around here don't like the paperwork, and I think we were talking about that earlier. The paperwork for a lot of these tests is very thick. It's a lot of things, and doctors' times and their staff's time is worth a lot of money. And so what we're trying to do is take some of that administrative burden off of the doctors. By regulation, all they really need to do is sign a paper. So we'll handle the insurance, we'll handle the payment, we can even take the sample. It's just a cheek swab. It's not even an invasive swab. I mean, we can do blood, but why? If you can do a cheek swab. So we're trying to take some of that administrative, hands-on time away from the doctor so that they can, continue to make money and their staff can continue to see patients. That's one of the big things. I don't know, do you have? Yeah, I mean, that's sort of our competitive advantage is that, we want to be as client friendly as possible. There's other companies out there that do similar things. They may not have as large a test as we do, but there's companies out there that do this, but they're located in California, or they're located in London, or they're located here. We can go there and, do the paperwork. A lot of MDs, this stuff is really new technology for them, and it scares them. It scares anybody because the knowledge base, the learning curve is so steep, but we can go in there and spoon feed it to people.
So it's like your problem is really like a procedural problem, is to streamline a lot of those processes.
That's it.
It's not really a financial or technology problem, it's really establishing your processes.
Well, there's always a financial problem. I mean, it's a small business. The technology is not the issue. We've got the technology worked out. It's really just giving us a competitive advantage that other competitors will be bringing in this similar type of technology that aren't around here don't have. And so we just build on those competitive advantages.
I have a couple of questions. I'm a mother of twins that were born very early. They both have several disabilities and things that we've had numerous tests done, and we've had to go other places because they didn't have something here. We are also military, so are you trying to target that military market that we have here in El Paso as far as getting approval with TRICARE and stuff like that for doing the tests more locally, one, and also then do you think that it will help attract more specialty doctors because currently we have to go to Arizona or Dallas or Houston even for some doctors?
Yeah, so one person who's not on this list, we actually contract with a medical billing group who does that work with TRICARE and the insurance company. So we're in the process of doing that right now. As far as what you said, going to Dallas or Phoenix, that's what we've heard from so many people, is that they have to go 8 hours, 10 hours away to do that. And it's interesting, when we moved here 7 years ago, we moved here from Boston, which has probably one of the best medical systems in the nation. And it's interesting because I gave a talk when I first started, and El Paso, unfortunately, a few years ago, rated the second worst medical system in the United States. And it was based on the patient-to-doctor ratio. So I don't remember exactly what the numbers is, but for every one doctor, there's like 700, 800 patients. And that's far from optimal. And that's why you guys have these 4-hour wait times. We have these 4-hour wait times. I think when we first went to a doctor, it was 45 minutes when we sat there and walked out. And then, because that was just too long. But we've learned since. And this is really part of what we started doing when we started this company, is we want to stay in El Paso, but we also, when we get older, we want a good medical system here in El Paso.